You too. What's good, your boy? Everything water and what is everything my familiar. Listen, I got for you guys a crazy stasis and strand build. It's gonna be a lot of fun, man. You're gonna be freezing a lot of enemies and creating a lot of Beyblades, or what I like to call, man. If y'all like this type of video, man, please leave a like and subscribe. It's your boy Everything Water and what is everything. Let's get right into the video. Starting off for this video, we're gonna be using the exotic weapon Auger Spectre. Now, this exotic weapon to me is probably one of the best weapons in the games because it does everything you need it to do. And also, I also believe this has the best catalyst buff from a weapon. When this weapon literally goes from crowd control, like literally one of the best crowd controls. What makes this weapon so good is that you don't even have to freeze a higher level enemy like a yellow bar to freeze enemy. You can freeze a red bar and it just freezes a lot of enemies around the radius of that freeze, so that's really cool. But the catalyst makes this weapon into, like I said, a really good crowd control weapon that does good damage to straight damage and like crazy. So you can use that at boss. So basically the catalyst, it gives you, like, when you hold square or whatever you use for your reload, once you do that, it takes away from your supers. And it goes, all the ammo goes into your primary ammo, and it just lets loose, and you just destroy enemies, you destroy bosses. And then at the same time, you can end it at any point and still have, let's say if you want to use half your super and still do that and then gain your super back at any point. So that's really good. So this weapon, again, is probably one of the top 5 best weapons in the game for just anything PvE. But yeah, that's our exotic weapon. Now we're going to talk about our exotic armor. Now, for our exotic armor, we're going to be using the Seraphine's Facade. Now, this is one of my favorites because it gives you a more fun strand play because it goes with the grapple. And now with the grapple, and basically every time you grapple, you're going to get Woven Mail. So Woven Mail is just like a strand matter that basically you get, like, maybe I think it's like 45%. It used to be 55, but I think it's like 45, 50% like damage reduction. It's really good even in harder end content too, but it's so much fun just swinging around, making a lot of tangles, which are Beyblades, which is one of the aspects we're going to be using. Your tangles create Beyblades, which with one of our armor mods on our arms is going to be allowing us to get our grapple a lot faster because we're doing crazy melee damage. And then just being able to freeze enemy, this is a really good fun build. But now let's get into our aspects, fragments, and abilities of this build. Alright, starting off with our super, we're going to be using the Silk Strike. That's the only super we have. For our dodge, we're going to be using Gambler's Dodge. Reloading your melee is really good because it also reduces the enemy's damage. And then for our grenade, we're going to be using Grapple because, you know, that goes well with the Seraphine's Facade because we're going to get Woven Mail every time we use our Grapple. And then going to our aspects, we're going damage, so we're going to be using Whirling Maystorm. If you want to go more defensive, you can use Threaded Spectre. But if you want to go, like I'm telling you, the damage and we're going to be getting our Grapple really quick because of one of our armor mods. Also, we're going to be using Widow Silk. Widow Silk is really good because it gives us 2 grenade grapple instead of 1. So it just gives you 2 extra grenade slots. So that's really good. That's a really good aspect. Now going into our fragment, we're going to be using, starting off, we're going to be using Thread of Generations. Dealing damage generates grenade energy. That's really good because you're going to be dealing damage. And on top of that, with Woven Mail, because of our grapple, we're going to be able to tank most of the damage. And then also we're going to be using Thread of Evolution. Threading travel further and deals additional damage. Your grapple has Unweaving, also sends threadings towards enemies too. So now that our threading is going to be able to travel further and additional damage, which is pretty cool. And then Thread of Ascents, activating your grenade ability reloads your equipped weapon and grants bonus airborne efficiency and handling for a short time. This is just really good. So if you don't want to reload your enemy, you can literally just spam your grapple at the same spot and you will not lose any. So if you just want to reload your heavy weapon and you're like, let's say you're going against this boss and you just use grapple once, it reloads it, use it again at the same spot, and then just spam it until you're out of ammo. Then last but not least, we're using Thread of Continuity. Suspend, unravel, and sever effects applied to the targets have increased duration. You want to be able to, if we're using to suspend enemies, but we're not going to be suspending enemies on this build. But we're going to be able to sether as much and reduce damage as much as possible, and we want to keep that as long as possible too. But yeah, that's it for the abilities, aspects, and the fragments of this build. Now we're going to talk about what I'm using for my artifacts, white mods, armor mods, and stuff. All right, going into my artifacts, we're starting off. We're going to be using Hailstorm, shattering encased targets, and stasis crystals deal increased damage. We're going to be using the Argus Spectre, so this is going to be really good. We want to be getting most of our artifacts wants to go into, because we're using, like again, Argus Spectre, you want to go more for stasis, because we're not using the strand weapon. Defeating it in case can ban and spawn stasis crystals. This is really good because we're gonna be going crazy. It's gonna be good. So that's really it, man. Everything else just depends on what you're doing and what you're doing in terms of the gameplay. So yeah, that's really it for the artifacts. Now obviously going into our stats, you always want to max out resilience. Any PvE content that's higher than 1600, that's higher than 1700, let's say, you want to max out your resilience. Even in 1600 content, resilience is just the most important thing. And after that, we're going discipline to get more, to have more grapple, so we can be able to get woven mail and do good damage too. So that's really good. And then we have our mobility and intellect right after that. That's both in the 50% or tier 5 level for this thing, so that's also pretty good. Now going into our white mods, this is also important. When you are using for your arm white mods, you want to have impact induction, causing damage with your powered melee attacks, reduces your grenade cooldown. If you don't know, the little Beyblade you spawn with your tangles, which you're going to be getting, it counts as a powerful melee, and you're going to be doing crazy damage, and it's just really consistent. So you're going to have and I have 2 of these, and then I also have heavy handed, because with grapple I'm going to be doing a lot of melee damage. So these are important. You want to have these to constantly have have your grenades, so have your grapple just in case you don't have it and stuff like that. But yeah, you want to have this. This is going to be really good. Anything else, I'm also using Stasis Weapon Surge just to boost my Argus Spectre a little bit. So that's pretty cool. And also got the hands-on that gain bonus to super energy on melee kills, which you're going to be killing enemy because the grapple melee does a lot of damage. And I got Stasis Siphons, which just Stasis Weapon Finding Blows, creates orbit power. And then going into this, I got Reaper, and then I got Powerful Attraction and Outreach, reduces melee cooldown when you're using your class abilities. It's just really simple things. You guys can screenshot this part if you want. But yeah, that's it for this video, man. If you like this other video, man, please leave a like and subscribe. With your boy Everything Water, and water is everything, my familia. And I'm out.